President of the Vidya Prasarak Mandal, Dr. Vijay Bedekar, Principal Dr. Chincholkar, Dr. Sonalni, and his colleagues from College of Engineering, Pune, and my dear students. I had no idea when I received the invitation that the kind of infrastructure that you have built here as the engineering college, and I'm very, very impressed, I must say that. That actually shows that your commitment for the technical education in the state. And I must congratulate the team from College of Engineering, Pune. I really admire the progress which was made by this institute, particularly in the last 15 years, taking themselves to the national level. And I have no doubt that this institute will grow to the international level very soon. And this is entirely possible because of the tireless efforts put in by, like Professor Agashi. We see today we have Dr. Sonalni and his colleagues, Dr. Pradeshi, Patil. Remember, the institutions are made by teachers, because these are, there are four pillars of any institutions. The first pillar, of course, is the faculty. If you have good faculty, you can build the institution very well. The second pillar is the students. If the students are good, they become the brand ambassadors of the institute. The third, I still say, is the non-teaching staff. Invariably, you tend to neglect the contribution made by non-teaching staff because most of the time they work behind the scenes. And the last one are your past graduates, because those are the ones who actually make the institute. They carry your flag outside, and I can see the students from this institute, from other institutions who are here attending this Disha program, the direction which that you are giving today to them. I really cannot give much of the advice, because they will be learning more technical things today and tomorrow, and probably that will help them in their professional career. I was seeing that movie, the small clip that you were shown, Faisal, right? The last statement in that slide was, what's the point of living if you can't do anything remarkable? That's a very, very profound message in that statement. How do you really become remarkable? How do you get noticed? How do you know that, how other people know that you are there and you have a certain expertise? All of you guys, I'm sure, in the students' days, you normally don't think anything about what is going to happen after 4 years. But the entry into any professional course, whether it's a diploma or for the degree, is, we always say, I need to pass examination. And of course, you probably study all your technical subjects or even non-technical subjects just to pass examination. I call this Marxism. We look for marks. You look for, when you're in the 10th standard, what is the percentage of marks that you have getting? When you go for the 12th standard, you say what is the percentage of the marks you get. Every year we just accumulate marks. But when you enter after the 4 years of graduation, even as a professional engineer, you enter into real world and you suddenly realize that the marks have no meaning. They probably open the doors for you, but they do not make you the real engineer. What makes you a real engineer is what you do with your own hands. How you perform becomes your USP. And when you perform, the credit goes not only to you, but also to your parents, also to your teachers, and the institution from where you graduated. In your heart, you will always carry, probably from your school days, right up to the final year, the teachers who mold you. Remember, the students like you are the raw materials for the college. It's a material which is getting processed over 3 years in diploma, 4 years in the degree college. And what you come out is a product of that college. And when you go out, you will carry the memories, you will carry the reputation, and you will build a reputation. if this is a very, very nascent stage of this college. We were just talking about the second batch to coming out. It's a very nascent stage. The first batch will decide in that case the further course of this institute. If they realize the kind of the facilities which have been now built up by this institute, you are actually if you are studying here, I must tell you are really fortunate. You have a very serene atmosphere here, very conducive for thinking, doing something new, and you still have a lot of facilities. The seashore is very close by. You just walk there in 15 minutes every day morning or evening. Enjoy the very clean breeze which we normally do not get in the main cities. But what is required today, you as a professional, is that you make your mark. You can write your own destiny and you can make your own career. It is not decided by, as I said, by your degree certificates. It is not decided by the marks that you get. It is decided entirely by what you can do. So ask the question to yourself, what I can do? And the answer can be sometimes unpleasant. Unpleasant because you say, I don't know anything. I don't know what I can do. And if you can say that, yes, I know what I can do, we are really one of the top levels of the students in this country. The history will be rewritten by those people who know what we can do. Let me give you another picture of this. We were discussing about what is the number of engineering colleges throughout the country, the number of engineers that we produce every year. On an average, we have about 5 years ago, the number was almost 1.5 million. We are talking about 15 lakh engineers coming out of the engineering colleges every year. At any time, we are talking about then 6 million, 60 lakh students studying engineering. It's a really large population. It may look like the tip of the iceberg considering the total population of the country. But what is an outcome of producing these engineers? What do they do eventually? What is the outcome in terms of, say, technology development, in terms of scientific development, in terms of economical development? What are engineers? Engineers are the ones who actually create with their hands. Engineers who create something new. Engineers are capable of visualizing the things. A civil engineer, when he designs a bridge, the bridge is not even existing. He visualizes what that bridge should be or the way it should be. And then he puts his all engineering knowledge and designs it right from piling to the ultimate flooring or the carpeting it. You take any of the mechanical equipment that you today might be building on CATIA or Autodesk. But eventually this has to be converted into a useful product. A product which can be used by somebody else. If it is only useful to you, it has no meaning. Only when you can convert an idea into prototype which will be utilized by a large number of people, only then you get the value in the process. I'll just give an example. We had just 4 months ago, 6 months ago, and immediately after Diwali, 3 days later, there was an announcement by the Prime Minister. Demonetization. And overnight, the money that you were carrying in a pocket became like a worthless paper. And then we were working with ideas about how to build the economy. We talk about cashless economy. And what are the facilities and the tools that we can make available to common people, because ultimately those were suffering in the process. And then we worked with a group in Pune University, the Director of Technology, and then we would like to build a product like a micro ATM and bring down the cost at as low as something like 1,500 per ATM. A simple concept started from an idea, from the difficulties what people were facing, or the problems people were complaining about, and an opportunity came out. So let us build something which becomes useful to the people. And it wasn't like saying that I want to do research in micro ATM. He wrote something like, okay, buy micro ATM and see how it works. They simply say, okay, let's build now a product. And I was a part of the team, as the chairman of the technical committee for Rashtriya Uchchita Shiksha Abhiyan. We supported the entire project at the cost of 15 lakhs, entire development. And within just 3 months, the team came up with a product, a micro ATM product, which is now being implemented in SBI with the first order of 100,000 units. I want to comment on this. We clap, but we clap for other people's success. Do we clap for our own success? You see the contribution made by COP people. They should become a role model. And then you say, can I at least emulate it? Do something different, the way that we celebrate, say, COP's contribution. Who will celebrate my contribution and what that would be? I throw this challenge at young people specifically because I believe very strongly each one of you is capable of doing something different. But we hold ourselves back. We hold ourselves back because we are not confident. Right from your toddlers, your toddler from that day onward, you have been actually conditioned not to experiment. I always give the example. When a young kid and the first toy is broken by you, your parents tell you, told us, दूसरे देना नहीं. Have you remembered any time? The parents normally say that if you break the first toy, they will not give you a second toy. I have a classical corollary on this. I have copied it on that. Today, you don't even open your mobile except to change the SIM card or the battery. Do you do that? You see that you don't even open your mobile, even if it's a defunct. You might actually sell it back, cash back, you say very happy, 500 rupees. But you will not say that 500 rupees, I want to learn what that mobile is. You will not open it to the last screw, even if you are an electronics engineering student, even if you are telecommunication engineering student, you will not open that mobile because we have been conditioned not to do this. What happens? Because there is a fear in mindset, what happens if it doesn't work again? I would say that is a cost of learning. It's a cost of learning. Doing something, you need to also say either being curious. If you really want to see what a curiosity means, leave a toddler to move around your house and check the way he can even follow a single ant all throughout, finding all crevices, what is there, opening the small toys using even the small nails. They work like a screwdriver. Do you do that today? You don't do this. So where have we lost our curiosity? Where have we lost our creativity? I was giving yesterday an example of what the creativity means. And the creativity is related to something which probably you must have done it as a very young kid. You recall, this could be available as a toy. If you go today in the fair and I think you get this soap bubbles making solution. But we used to do that ourselves to find out any soap, make some water solution, then you take the paper, make a straw out of that, and then you blow the bubbles and you're very happy seeing those bubbles made. I actually made some research on that and to find out why that color, you see those bubbles when they float around, there is a coloration and that color changes. Why there is a different coloration and why a particular bubble when there is a drainage of the liquid film and when it breaks, and why some of them will maintain the existence for a long time. We actually make research on that. And there are companies like, say, Hindustan Lever or ITC, they actually do research to ensure that these bubbles are not breaking. What is required in that case? A very strong tendency to observe what is happening around us. Once you become observant, you become curious. Once you become curious, you try to ask questions. Ask questions, and not to just ask questions to ourselves. You ask the question to yourself, saying that what it is, how it is functioning, how it was done earlier. And every time when you look at it in a different angle, you might find an opportunity to do something different. We should not be looking at saying that once I graduate, once I get my degree, I have the certificate, I will go out. Do you think that people will be standing out, waiting for you to graduate and come out, saying that, no, he is going to come out, so now he or she as well, sorry. They are going to wait for you outside? I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. In fact, the companies are changing, and particularly in the last 10 years, the major employment was in IT industries. But today, if you look at IT industries changes every 6 months. So what I learned today, in 6 months down the line, it will be obsolete. And they are ready to say that I will hire the person based on what I needed to do. I'm not going to hire people because I need an employee, or I'm going to give a job to the people for next 25-30 years. One thing, industry does not work for charity. Industry can give you some money when you go for the sponsorship, saying that, okay, you take this 10,000, 20,000, don't come back to us. They will not bother even about it. Industry is not meant for charity. My very simple thing is, industry works for profit. And I'm sure all of you are looking for opportunities, and industry is not going to give those all opportunities. If I'm saying that 1.5 million engineers are coming out every year, do we have 1.5 jobs? It's a very hard question. Your parents invested their money, in your education. There's an investment. Don't look at it as an expense. If you understand economics, any investment has to generate a profit. Only then the investment has some meaning. Otherwise, they will simply say, put that money in the bank FD, I will earn at least 10% or 8% today, interest. That's all you can take. Otherwise, what happens is investment made lakhs of rupees which are spent and expended and invested by your parents in your education. Ask a question to yourself, what are you returning to them? I look at it in a very different manner today. And I'm sure that when you think a little bit introspection, ask a question, what have I done with that money which my parents invested in me? Have I given them back what they deserve? Or I simply take it saying that whether I go to the class or don't go to the class, whether I learn anything new or I don't learn anything new, whether I'm only passing examination or really adding a value to myself. We'd rather get carried away by the divisive forces that people will play politics, because that is the politicians will always play politics, because that is their business, that is their profession. So rather than ask a question to yourself, is the politics your profession or going to be your profession? Then you are in the wrong discipline. But if you're engineers, if you want to become engineers and you want to do something different, this is a time for you to wake up. You're fortunate because the era that we are living today, the access to information is instantaneous. We talked about mobile, virtual labs of mobile. We never had this kind of things 25 years ago. Today, this is available on a plate to you, just to access it, but majority of us has become consumers. We are consuming the content generated by somebody else. We are consuming or using the products which are produced by somebody else. Why we do not have many of those Bill Gates and the Steve Jobs and the Mark Zuckerbergs? We pass. You imagine if I rely on this human resource available to me, and even suppose 10% of those people are ready to do something, I'm talking about 6 lakhs products to come out every year from this country. 6 lakhs patents can be produced every year. We need to change ourselves. We cannot simply say that there is a government is there, they will give me a job. Industries are there, they will give me a job. Industries are not there. We don't have many industries. Then what do you do with them? What do you do in that case with my engineering education? Passing examination is not going to give the opportunities. It is going to give you a certificate saying that you are graduated, pass this examination. It doesn't actually make you engineers or diploma holders. You think every day, every evening when you go to the sleep, you need to think what I have achieved today. And it's a question which even I ask to myself every day, even today. What new value I have added to myself in that 24 hours, and what I'm going to do next day, next 24 hours. I plan it not just for one day, I plan it for 25 years. We develop the vision today for technical education in this state. What should be the situation in 2025, 10 years down the line, in 2050, 35 years down the line. Will we having the similar kind of setups? Will be having the similar kind of examinations? Will be the same kind of engineering colleges? Or are we really saying that I want to make a change to ourselves? Remember, when we got the independence, we all blame entire thing on the British, saying that okay, they wiped out our all the natural resources, they took away with the money from us. When we got independence, South Korea also got the independence in similar time. Of course, they went through the two wars. Japan was completely devastated. Germany was almost wiped out. Entire industrial belt was wiped out. Today, the same nations are at the forefront of the developments. And we keep on cribbing about ourselves. Problem starts with us. Problem doesn't start with others. That's the point which I wanted to give. It's a very hard message because I have been seeing this in every organization, that we don't want to make a change. We don't want to change ourselves, and we don't want others to make the change. That's the worst part of it. I believe that each one of you having that potential to do something different, if you decide today that yes, in next 2 months, 3 months, you will not change in an overnight. I don't have a magic wand that I can move around you and saying that this entire population has changed because I gave a speech. Not going to happen. You need to have some introspection. When you go back, understand what I was trying to tell you. If you want to make a change, you want to make a change to your own life. What do you want to be? I'm sure that every one of you would have aspirations, but what aspirations you have? You say, I need to have a big car, I need to have a big house, of course a family, and property. Everybody wants fit. Everybody looks for an aspiration. Today if you are driving the motorcycle, tomorrow at least you have aspirations for the Nano. If you are driving Nano today, say, can I have a BMW tomorrow? Aspirations is an integral part of every human being. Without that we will not work. But having aspirations and working systematically towards achieving the goals. All of you probably saying, I am today passing diploma. Another 4 years I have to spend, at least 3 years I have to spend to become a graduate engineer. Then I will get a job. Then I will start working on it. That will not work. Your future career is in your own hands. If you start working today saying that I want to achieve, I want to be somebody. Somebody is decided by you only. Nobody else can get prestige there in the class. For a student, the kind of, I must say, there is a kind of indiscipline sometimes I see. It may actually make me wonder, are the students really know what they want? Or are we simply getting wrapped up in that virtual world? Not a virtual lab. We get carried away by those messages on the WhatsApp and the Facebook. How much of the activity is really productive? We can use the social media very well, and you can see here an example how the communication technology, the developments which have taken place in the last 10 years are utilized and shown in a very productive manner. It could have been a very good business venture. I look at it very simply, it could have been a very good business venture for CAP. They should not actually give this free. They are very generous that they are giving this almost free to others. But I would say CAP should not do this. They actually should build a business around that. They should then first celebrate their own success in terms of the financial benefit. Please say that, Dr. Ahuja, that we are making mistakes. This is what happens. This is what happens when sometimes we get carried away by somehow the idealistic view. I don't want to make anybody idealistic. That is not the real world. The real world works entirely on money and finance and the profits. Without that, this will crumble. No activity will take place. They will recall the situations in Soviet Union before 1989. They worked right from this 1917 onward to 1989, and they tried to put them socialism, saying that you cannot generate profit. But they lagged behind the development. Only after 1989, when they opened up the system, now they're starting to make developments more. But in the process, people suffer. I therefore do not accept the concept saying that let the things happen, anybody can get whatever he wants. That cannot happen. If you put the hard work, you will get the benefits. If you don't want to do hard work, you are not deserving any of those benefits. And no activity should be just saying that I just want to be generous and give away entire thing. No. Everybody has to at least 5 rupees they must pay. But that is the way we should be working. That's the way the economic development takes place. And look at all around you. You will find plenty of opportunities. I just take a round in one area, I can tell you how many opportunities are available in that area. It's a matter of that you work together and say, there's one more thing I must add here. If you want to work, build something for yourself, you cannot do it alone. You must build a team. You must have like-minded people with you. And that's the point where I would like to quote Swami Vivekananda. It might be a message you might have read on the WhatsApp. And he has given a very extremely good example. So that when a raindrop falls on the ground, if it falls on your hand, it is pure enough for you to drink. If the same raindrop falls in the field, it gives rise to new life. A same raindrop falls on oyster, it gives a beautiful pearl. The same raindrop falls in the gutter, you would not like to put your foot into that. Same raindrop, different associations. The value had changed to the different measures simply because the raindrop got associated with different things. So what makes you, or what adds the value to you, is what you get associated with. You decide in that case you want to fall in the gutter or you want to become the pearl. So your association can actually make you or break you. So build your teams where your team members can complement each other and they can add a value to each other. So together we can celebrate. Take the example of Infosys. How that entire Infosys was built by the team of technocrats with a common goal and a dream, saying that we want to do something for ourselves. Today they are billionaires. How many Infosys we can build? They were people like you, work just 2 years, 3 years in industry, said, bless, why are you working for others? Why can't we work for ourselves? We have skills, we have knowledge, why we are not leveraging it? And don't expect that every time somebody else will do it for you. Nobody is going to do it for you. Nobody has the time to do anything for you. It's you who will do it everything for you.